Hi everyone, welcome to the How to Be a Proposal Assessor workshop, Fund 9. I'm going to share my screen so we can start and also share the slides here in the chat. Unfortunately, this time I think I cannot ask everyone to present themselves because we have 35 people here in the room. It would take a long time. But I'm going to present myself. My name is Victor. I am part of the Catalyst School. We are a funded proposal from Catalyst. We've been funded since Fund 6, and we have these workshops and also some other resources that we provide for people who are joining Catalyst, so they can find the best place where they could work and contribute to the project, to a Catalyst project. And as I said, we have these sessions and workshops. We have one-on-one support sessions that you can ask for as well in many different languages for many different topics. We are about to launch an educational website with content about how to propose in Catalyst, how to be a proposal assessor, a veteran proposal assessor, and in the near future, some information about the Catalyst Circle, the DREPs, Catalyst natives, and other things that are coming up in Catalyst as well. So just to put ourselves in the right place in the funding cycle, since this is not an introduction to Catalyst workshop, I'm just going to talk very briefly about this funding cycle. I guess almost everyone knows about it already. Usually these cycles last for 3 months, and the first week is for insight sharing, where people discuss the challenges and the problems to solve, the ideas that they have. And it's not for proposal submission yet. It starts during the second week, which is the proposal submission phase. And back then, until Fund 7, proposers could only submit proposals during this first week, the proposal submission week, but now it's open for the 3 weeks, this 3 weeks window, proposal submission, refinement, and finalizing as well. So during this time, the proposers can submit, receive feedback from the community, and edit their proposals until this window is closed. And for this fund, it's going to be closed tomorrow morning. I think it's 11 UTC. I'm not sure. If you're still to finish your proposal, I would advise to finish it today, not to leave it for tomorrow. And I still have to finish a couple myself yet as well. So starting tomorrow, a few hours after this submission window is closed, there is the proposal assessment by PAs stage. And it's going to last for 2 weeks. And this is something that has changed from Fund 8 to Fund 9. I think last fund, it was, I'm not sure if it was just 7 days or 10 days, but now it has increased to 2 weeks. So we have more time to assess the proposals. After that, there is this assessment review by proposers. The proposers can read all the assessments that their proposals have received, and they can choose to flag them if they think that the assessment is somehow unfair, if they are not following the guidelines, or there is any other reason that they think that the specific assessment should be removed. And they can also add a rationale, a justification, explaining why they believe that a specific assessment should be removed from the process. After this is done, there is the assessment review by VPAs stage, where the VPAs are going to have approximately 2 weeks as well, 15 days, to review the work done by the PAs. And they are going to do so by comparing how these assessments were written with the guidelines, with the PA guideline. And they are also going to take into consideration everything that was mentioned by the proposers in the previous stage. Then after this is done, some assessments are removed, some assessments are rated as excellent, other as good. We are going to talk a little bit more about this a few slides ahead. The final scores for each proposal are calculated, and then the community votes on which proposals they want to see funded, and these scores provided by the PAs are going to help them to decide which proposals should be funded and which proposals should not be funded. Any questions so far? Also, if you want to ask something, you can do it in the chat. I'm going to check it, and there are other school members here to help as well. I think someone was going to say something. Was it you, Marcus?
Yeah, just regarding the VPA. So it's not exactly on where we are now, but I didn't understand exactly when I have to be when I can be eligible to be a VPA. But now I see in the chat that is like 2 or 3 qualifying funds, and it's just per invite. That's what I read.
Yes. Yeah. You should have been a PA for, I'm not sure if 2 or 3. I need to check the guide. I'm not sure if it has changed, but at least for a few funds before you are eligible to be a VPA.
Okay, that's good. This time I wouldn't have managed it anyway. There's so much.
Yeah, maybe the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's start talking about what is a proposal assessor. So a proposal assessor is basically any community member of Catalyst. If anyone can sign up, and the expectations are that the PAs should assess proposals. This is basically what the PAs do. They read proposals, they compare, they assess them based on 3 criteria that we're going to talk a few slides ahead. And by doing this, they should also provide feedback to the proposers, just in case they don't get funded in the current fund and they want to resubmit in the future. And also by assessing the proposals, the PAs are supporting the whole community by providing guidance during the governance phase, where people vote for or against the proposals of that fund. And as I said, basically anyone can be a proposal assessor. There is no requirement, at least at this point. In the future, there might be a requirement like participating in some workshop like this or completing a test. I don't know. Catalyst is evolving all the time. Maybe 1 year in the future, this is going to be different. There are going to be some requirements, but the way it is right now, there are no requirements for anyone to be a PA. So if you want to be a PA, you can sign up at the IdeaScale website. There's a link here. I'm going to show the website in a few minutes as well, but the registration is currently open. I think it opened last week, or yeah, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's going to be open until the eve of the closure of the assessment stage. Any questions so far? No, so let's move on. Just some general facts about proposal assessors. First one is that the PAs are anonymous, what means that if you sign up as a VPA and you assess proposals, no one is going to know who you are. Specifically, people are going to be able to see your assessments afterwards, but you are going to receive a unique ID, an assessor ID, but there is no name attached to this ID. So you can use this ID to identify your own assessments and see how they were rated by the VPAs in the future, for example. But the proposals are not going to know who you are. The other PAs are not going to know who you are. And the idea behind this is to avoid any kind of harassment that, let's say, the proposers that were not happy with the way that you assess their proposals could do. In regards to you, they could like complain or do something to hurt you, your reputation somehow. There are some pros and cons regarding this. For example, people could try to create create fake accounts, not fake accounts, but let's say ghost accounts to try to assess their own proposals. But there are some ways that IOG uses to try to identify this kind of malicious behavior and remove these assessments from the system. So, and this has been done a few times as far as I know. So it's another layer of security for the process. Another thing is that the scores provided by PAs cannot be seen by other PAs during the assessment phase. Actually, not only other PAs, but basically no one can see how the PAs are scoring the different proposals. And the idea is that PAs should work independently. They should not be influenced by other PAs' opinions. They should make their own minds regarding each proposal. Because at the end, we want like an average score based on different opinions, because some people are more lenient, some people are more strict, and that's the idea behind this. Also, PAs can choose which proposals they want to assess. They can choose the challenges where they are going to assess proposals. They can choose the proposals, and the reason is that you are not obliged to, let's say, there is no list of proposals that you should assess, because you don't necessarily have the background required to assess, let's say, a very technical proposal. You are more comfortable with assessing proposals that are not very technical or are more related to something that you like. For example, you really like gaming, you could only assess gaming proposals, or proposals related to metadata, related to NFTs, to DIDs, or anything else. So basically, you can choose which proposals you want to assess. But there are two restrictions to this. The first one is that you can be a proposer and a proposal assessor in the same fund, but you cannot do so. You cannot act as these two different roles in the same challenge. So let's say you are a proposer now in Fund 9, and you submitted a proposal in the Depths and Integrations Challenge, which currently has almost 500 proposals. So if you've done so, you cannot assess any of the proposals that were submitted in that same challenge, but you can still assess proposals that were submitted, for example, in Grow Africa, Grow Cardano, in the DREPS challenge, the Great Migration challenge, but not in Depths and Integrations in this specific case. And also, you can be a proposal assessor and a veteran proposal assessor in the same fund, but you cannot be in the same challenge. And there is a note here. I'm not sure if in the same challenge, this was something that was being discussed. The right information, the final information, is going to be available in the guideline, but at least you cannot assess your own, you cannot review as a VPA your own assessments as a PA. So just a note for you to check this in the future if you're going to be a VPA, that the final information is going to be available in the official guideline. Any questions? Nope. Let's move on. All right, so talking about IdeaScale. What is IdeaScale? Currently, IdeaScale is the platform that Catalyst has been using to both have the proposals submitted and also the proposals assessed by the PAs. It's a third-party company. IdeaScale is a third-party company, and we use them. Catalyst uses them to run all the process, basically. So it is all the information that is in IdeaScale is checked by IOG, so you can trust that it is official information, differently from community-made websites where there might be some mistakes, but here also there might be some mistakes, but the IOG is responsible for maintaining the information that is there. So let me just open here IdeaScale so I can show you with more details how it is. So this is like the homepage where you can see the different challenges that are currently available for this fund. So in this case, we have the F9 challenges, for example, Great Migration from Ethereum, DAO's Low Cardano, dApps products and integrations, and a few more. And if you click on any of them, you're going to see the ideas that were submitted. And ideas here is the same thing as proposals. So you can see a list of all proposals that were submitted here in this challenge. And the challenge brief as well, which is the explanation of this challenge, the goals, what the community wants to achieve with the proposals that are submitted in this challenge. And there are, for example, some key metrics to be measured for the challenge itself. How does success look like for this challenge, or for what is expected for this challenge to accomplish based on the proposals that are submitted in this challenge. And this is also used by the PAs to assess the impact of the different proposals. So it's very important for PAs to carefully read the challenge brief of different challenges if they are assessing proposals in that challenge. So any questions here regarding IdeaScale? So moving on. So let's talk about.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just in general. Oh, okay. Now it's coming now. It's coming now. So I ask afterwards.
Okay. So let's talk about assessing proposals now. How to assess a proposal. So the proposal assessors are going to take 3 different criteria in consideration when assessing the proposals. And these criteria are impact, feasibility, and clarity or auditability. And the assessment consists of a score between 1 and 5, and a rationale or explanation justifying the score given. So let's say you decided to give 5 stars to proposal impact. You need to justify why you think that the impact of that proposal is so high, or the opposite. If you just gave 1 star, you should justify why you gave just 1 star, what's missing, why the impact is not so good. And so this should be done for each one of the 3 different criteria. So let's say you could give 5 stars for impact, but just 3 stars for feasibility, 1 star for auditability, and an explanation to each one of them. There is a link here for the proposal assessor advisor. Proposal assessor, there's an advisor here that shouldn't be. Assessment guide. It's still being updated. As you can see, there might be some comments here on the right side, but this is going to be updated by the time that the assessment stage starts. So it's almost done, but I advise everyone to check it again, let's say tomorrow or Friday, and see the final information that is here, because this is very, very complete. There is like a very good explanation about all the different criteria, also about how the VPAs are going to assess, are going to review the assessments afterwards during the quality assurance phase. And there are also some examples of good and bad assessments. And there is also another very useful resource, which is the voter tool. I'm going to share the link to the tool here in the chat. Here you can just pick up one of the, let's say, one of the proposals that were submitted in Fund 8. And if you just scroll down, you can see assessments that were provided by other proposal assessors for this proposal in Fund 8. and how they were rated by the veteran proposal assessors. This is still going to be updated. So it's also a very good way to learn how a good or an excellent assessment looks like. And here at the top, you can choose different languages. You can see the raw data. And there's another very useful tool that is the proposal assessor tool, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it at the end. So any questions? Next slide, we are going to go into more details regarding each one of these criteria.
Are there certain no-goes in the assessments? Something like, I've been asking that in the community already, but nobody had a concise answer. Something like, for example, creating ISPOs or so, is that like a no-go? Is there something where one would say, oh, I don't know, or do you have some certain hurdles where you say, or like, what's the name? Levels where you say, okay, build some trust, because could we say if somebody has been in a previous fund before, that we trust those people more with more funding, with a higher funding request than newcomers, or does it then still depend on the proposal? What is your experience on that? If that makes sense, what I'm asking.
Yes, I mean, it depends on a lot of factors, I would say. Indeed, I think that there's no simple answer, but let's say you have first-time proposers and they are asking for $1 million and they are not providing enough background. So this is probably not, you cannot really trust that they're going to deliver. But if they have been funded for a 50K proposal and they delivered it, then 100K and they delivered it as well. Even if they don't provide a lot of background, you know, their previous work. So this is a good indication. But let's say someone asks for 500K, but they provide all the background, the other things that they've built, even outside Catalyst. They provide links to their repositories or any other things that you could use to really trust that they are capable of delivering what they're promising there, then it's good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, Matthias. Your voice is very low.
I come back later.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right.
We'll move on.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
My audio levels adjusted for some reason. Anyway, regarding the first question, the no-goes of proposals, legality, right? In the previous fund, there were a lot of debates around proposals that employed child labor, right? There's also one consideration in addition to Catalyst, because we're using IdeaScale. IdeaScale has their own guidelines as well, right? So who can create an account? So as long as you're operating legally, you can post pretty much anything on it. But to yours, as you alluded to in the second question, right, it really depends also what's feasible, right? I think Danny I missed it today, but usually I think it was in the last week or the week before. Also, there's always the slide, hey, don't waste anyone's time, right? Kind of like if you put a proposal in there, you know, be sure that you want to execute on that, right? So no, like if you have a real solution to a real problem, put it in there as long as it's legal.
Yeah.
And ISPOs can be tricky depending on what the token is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because yeah, that's a question as a proposal now. But I basically have to decide whether I split everything up into 1,000 mini proposals or if I just put all in one and don't be repetitive. That's what I'm thinking of. And because what I see in the assessment is also says is a proposal very similar to another proposal, and that's what I have seen last time when I was a CA, and I actually did not realize that those were different proposals. I actually thought it was a bug. that IdeaScale just messed up with the cache, and I see proposals getting mixed up, but they repeated it themselves. So that's where the question is actually coming from. And I think I will see some more proposals like that, and it affects us too.
Yeah, if I might comment on that real quick, because I have both on the winning and the losing side of that. Mm-hmm. And that in the past, when funds were significantly smaller, it was generally good practice and well-received advice to split up bigger proposals into smaller ones. Also, we had more variety in the challenges that was possible. And you would reference still those other proposals and how you would implement them individually, or how do you deal with if not all of those proposals in the project get funded. Now it seems, especially with this fund, but more generally from the I guess feedback that I have received, it seems now it's better to have bigger proposals and not break those up at least too much. That's just from my perspective how I see things. And since we're talking about assessing these proposals, right, and we have these questions, I think it is up to the proposer to really identify, hey, you know, I have these other proposals or I don't have these other proposals. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of work that would be required to sometimes identify those proposals, because you can game the system essentially there as well, right? So probably harder to do with the challenge settings as they are right now, but it has happened in previous funds as well, even with those questions.
So still splitting them up, but like 25 to 35K is not necessarily the go-to number that we have to address now, right? So
that's the question.
It's difficult to say. This is a little bit of a side path regarding the topic of the workshop, but we can continue talking about it later. No worries.
Sorry.
No worries. So moving on, talking specifically about the three different criteria that we use to assess the proposals. As I said, impact, feasibility, and clarity or auditability. The first one is the impact. And I would say that this is the most subjective of all three, because it depends on each one's perspective, because the idea here is basically try to measure and to give a number to how big the impact of this proposal is going to be within the Cardano, not just Catalyst, but the whole Cardano community. For example, is this going to impact like just a couple people or 10 people, 100, 1,000, all the community? Is this impact going to be for a specific period of time? It's going to be for several years, forever. Is it local or global? Are you affecting just a local community somewhere, or it's going to affect everyone that uses Cardano in any way? And also, what's the ability to scale in the future after this proposal gets funded? It's able to be self-sustainable in the future and grow, let's say, organically, or turn into a different business model that doesn't need Catalyst anymore. So all these things should be used to assess the impact of a proposal. The second one, which is the feasibility, this is already more objective than impact, and it's more related to how likely it is for the proposal to successfully deliver what they're proposing. So the proposal assessor should pay attention to things like the roadmap, the milestones proposed for this roadmap, the background of the proposing team, if this background is aligned with what is necessary to execute and successfully deliver the proposal. The budget as well, it's very important, both if it's not enough or if it's too much. It should be always appropriate, but sometimes it's hard to measure this, especially with different rates of things in different places in the world. For something that's the same budget might be too much for some place that some developing country, and for other places might not be enough. And also the risks related to the execution of a proposal. So let's say there is a proposal that depends on something happening, like something that has happened a lot in Catalyst is there are a lot of proposals that depend on Atala Prism to be in production, and the launch on mainnet of Atala Prism was delayed. So this affected a lot of proposals, and this should be one of the risks that should be taken into consideration when evaluating the feasibility of different proposals. So I just listed the things here that should be taken into consideration when assessing the feasibility, but what the proposal assessor should do is not just to like put checks on a checklist. Okay, there is a roadmap, there is budget, there is milestones, there are KPIs, not just that. They should assess if it's appropriate, if they are realistic, if they are according to what's being proposed, and based on that, you believe or not that the proposal is going to be successfully delivered according to what was planned. The last criteria is the auditability, and this is related to two main things. The first one is how the community can monthly check the progress of the execution of that proposal. All the funded proposals have to submit monthly reports to IOG, and these reports are public. Basically, anyone can have access to them, and they can check if what was the progress from one month to the next one, for every month to the next one, what the team has done during this time. And they should be able to compare this to what was proposed in the roadmap that goes under the feasibility criteria. So are they on track? Are they ahead of their schedule? Are they delayed? So how this is going to be tracked should be informed under this auditability session of the proposal in IdeaScale. And the other one is related to the success of the proposal. So this is more related to other KPIs, for example, how many people are engaged with your project, how many people are using the open source tool that you have developed, how many people are attending to the workshops that you're hosting, how many views did you have on YouTube, how many people are engaging with the content that you are sharing in social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, and other places. So ways to measure the success, the success of the proposal. So you could have KPIs related to the success and also KPIs related to the progress. So let's say, for example, in this example, as the Catalyst School, seeing it as a proposal, people could track our progress by checking our YouTube channel and seeing the uploaded videos there. For example, we had a very similar workshop this Monday. The video is already there. People could check how the workshop went. They could check the attendance and the other workshops that we provided earlier during this fund. And this would be a way to track the execution, but not the success. The success would be related to how many people attended to the sessions, how many people watched the YouTube videos, how many people commented on those videos. So these are two different things, but both of them go under the auditability criteria. Are there any questions regarding any of these topics? Yeah, Javid.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I was just going through the proposals and challenges also. And I found in many proposals, the proposers are only giving the details for measuring the success of the proposal, not the metrics to measure the progress means how we can audit while it was executing. So that is I found it is missing, and in many challenges also under challenge setting challenge that the authors, they are not means clearly mentioning the metrics to measure the progress. They are also only focusing on the success part. So I think I just want to highlight that actually. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of confusion regarding auditability currently, I would say, because as you said, they see the word KPI and they just put whatever metric comes to their mind. But for example, let's say we have a roadmap with specific milestones under the feasibility section of the proposal. In the auditability, you should say what kind of evidence you are going to provide for each one of their milestones. So let's say I'm going to hire a law firm to do something for me. And at the end, I'm going to provide a report or the invoice or something that I really contacted that law firm, and the community can check that work was done. So it could be a
or
report,
something like GitHub commits also, right? If it is a development proposal, like GitHub commits or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, James.
Hi, yeah, I got a question on when you're assessing impact. Something I found, I was a CA last fund, and something I found tricky was, quite often you get a project that might be a proof of concept, and they'll have a description of the greater project, which may be very impactful on all the different criteria you're supposed to assess. But if it's a proof of concept, apart from challenge alignment, how do you score it highly in impact?
Yeah, so when assessing a proof of concept, you should keep in mind that a proposal should be an individual entity, not related to what's going to be done in the future. So let's say, okay, this proof of concept is successfully delivered. On itself, what is the value that it's going to deliver to the Cardano ecosystem? Like, okay, it's a proof that something like this could be scaled up in the future, but it's not the same impact as the final outcome of the project that's going to come up after the proof of concept is delivered and the other business is built upon it. So if it's just a proof of concept, I would say the impact would be smaller. But if it has like tangible results, it might be enough for it to have at least some impact on the community. It's like what I think Marcos mentioned, that people break up different big proposals into smaller ones, but each one of them should have their own impact, not just rely on having impact only if all the different proposals get funded and the whole project is successful.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's just but are you going to potentially be marking down a really useful project because of that? And I don't know if there's a way to get around it.
Yeah, that's why I think this is very subjective. It depends on who is assessing at the end. Some people really like, because this is an innovation fund, right? We are here also to fund ideas and to test different things and see things work out. So it might be worth it to fund a proof of concept, even if the budget is not that big. But if the budget is very big and impacted, and the results are not that big, then the impact should be lower, at least in my opinion. But yeah, it's subjective.
Okay, cool. Cheers.
Thanks. Peter.
Hi, thanks. Great initiative. My question or reflection is somewhat related to James's question there. I mean, something I've struggled with in assessing is how do you measure the hourly rate that different proposers take for themselves. So there, I looked at a few last fund, for example, where they were having very high hourly rates for producing white papers. I thought that was quite low, low impact. I mean, high feasibility for sure, but quite low impact. Whereas others, apparently didn't consider that. So do you have any thoughts on how to handle like $2,000 hourly rates?
Yeah, I think this depends a lot, right? Because let's say if there are only 10 people in the world that are able to write this white paper, then it might be worth it, this rate, but probably this is not the case. So there are many things that you should take into consideration, like where this person lives, what's the knowledge necessary to do this task, not just writing white papers, but let's say develop a Plural's smart contract. There are not many people who can do that currently. So the offer and demand is going to create a high pressure and increase the price, the hourly rate for people who are Plural's developers currently. But for something that is easier, let's say, translating something, then the rates should be smaller. But again, there's really no single answer for this. It depends on where the person lives, how many people are available to do that job, what's the knowledge necessary.
But do you see that it should be part of the assessment and maybe the impact sort of mentioned?
Yeah, I think it should be mentioned. Yeah, if it's too much, in my opinion, the impact should be lower because the cost benefit is not that good. But if it's not enough, the feasibility then is lower because not necessarily lower, it might be appropriate. But if the budget is like just, let's say, $1,000 to build a new blockchain, of course, it's not enough. Unless you're forking Cardano, then it's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, Nana.
Thanks. So I just wanted to ask, how would you want to assess, let's say, a team who have already won funds for, like, let's say, like, if you go through the public reporting from like the MVP, you realize that, okay, so this particular team, they have won so many proposals and there's a lot of them that they are still working on, yet they are still writing to request for more, like sort of, more. How would you assess such a team, like when you're assessing the proposal? Would you want to take into consideration the fact that they have been funded so many times by Catalyst and yet there's little that they have been able to deliver so far, and then they are still requesting for more? Or would you want to just assess the proposal as it is and then go on?
No, you should take into consideration the previous work done by that team, the proposals that they submitted, if they are delayed, if they were successfully completed, and if there's how many open proposals are still there, and if they are proposing more in that specific fund. Actually, there are a few questions under the feasibility criteria that specifically for this. They ask if you are working on previously funded proposals from funds 8, 7, 6, 5, or even before that, and if you are submitting other proposals in the same fund. So yeah, ideally proposals should indicate that in their proposals, how many proposals they are currently working on, also when they're going to close their proposals, if they're going to be available to work on these new proposals when they start receiving funds, because they could have, let's say, 10 proposals in progress right now, but they are going to get them finished by the next 3-4 weeks. And by the time that they receive funds for F9 proposals, then they will be available again to work on them. So yeah, all of this should be taken into consideration, not just this proposal for the feasibility criteria.
Sure, thanks. That's really, really helpful.
Thank you. Antonia. Antonia, are you there? So you are muted. Okay, Marcus then. Ah, yeah, she's there.
Okay, I'll wait.
I'm going to unmute you, Antonia, or ask you to unmute. That's all I can do, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, I can hear you.
You listen? Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's only a conclusion. Look at the criteria. The main criteria look like the criteria that I use when I wanted to vote on Catalyst. It's necessary or to present a proposal to be a PA?
To present a proposal, no, you don't have to submit a proposal there to be a proposal assessor. You just have to sign up at IdeaScale. You don't have to have either, nothing like that. You can just be a PA for this fund or for any other fund.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Marcus.
Yeah, just open it up. Two things. Impact, does it relate to Cardano and the ecosystem? If we have like a way, and like there's this project that could change the world forever, right? But would you say if you have to weigh, is it 50% for Cardano? Is it 50% for the overall impact on the world, basically? Or is it 75% on Cardano ecosystem and 25% on the overall impact on the world? How would you think that's a fair rating?
One thing that all the proposals that are submitted in Catalyst should have is some sort of connection to Cardano, right? So yeah. let's say you are building a DApp that's going to benefit everyone in the world, even if they are not directly using Cardano. Yeah. But somehow the Cardano ecosystem is going to be benefited as well, right? So this ratio that you've mentioned between impact to people outside Cardano community and for Cardano itself, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to provide you a right ratio for that. It's subjective. Yeah, it's more personal. Yeah. But the guidelines, I think they mentioned just the impact related to the Cardano ecosystem.
And the challenge.
Even if it's not directly, if people who are using the solution, the product, the platform, whatever it is, they're not directly using Cardano, but in the background, Cardano is running. There is an increasing number of transactions, number of NFTs issued, something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, okay. That's all. Yeah.
Then the second question, for the dates, are the delivery dates clearly defined? I have seen many times like first month, second month, third month after funding. Is that defined enough?
Yeah, that's defined enough, especially because the reports, the progress reports are submitted on a monthly basis. So you can check, they can put more than one milestone per month. They could say, they could explain their milestones every week after funding, but they are going to submit only once a month. So yeah, every month or monthly reports are more than okay. It's what Catalyst currently requires, at least.
Okay, and if I have a suggestion for the form, because when you said previous proposals, there's one part for a crooked mind like mine. this would be like doubtful. I would like be okay. I've been working on, I had a proposal in the previous fund. I finalized it, and now this is the continuation of the previous cycle. And that would be confusing for me. So maybe adding something like unfinished or so, if it's not already in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is also this other session in the submission form where the proposal has to say if the current proposal is a continuation of a previously funded proposal or not. So
Yeah,
this
right.
is, yeah, it's going to be very, very easy for PAs to check that.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry.
No worries. That's what we are here for. Yeah, Austin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
My question was in regards to credibility of PAs. How is that assessed in general? Is that with how their assessments align with the rest of the community, like time or amount of assessments they've done in general as well? And is there anything else that aligns with that or adds more weight to their assessments?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, as I said, basically anyone can sign up to be a proposal assessor. We don't know their background, we don't know who they are. So there should be a way for us to know if their work is good or not, right? So there are some things related to this.
Okay.
The first one is the quality assurance stage, and that's where the veteran proposal assessors come in. They are going to review the assessments that the PAs have provided, and according to how well they are aligned with the guideline, they're going to assess to review these assessments and decide if they are going to be filtered out, completely removed from the system, if they're going to be classified as good or as excellent. And this only influences the amount of rewards that the PAs receive. But at some point in the future, this is also going to influence, I believe, at least, the weight of that assessment, the final score of each proposal. So the excellent assessments currently receive 3 times more rewards than good ones. Filtered out don't receive anything. And I believe that maybe in the future, the weight of the assessments of the excellent assessments are going to be 3 times higher than good ones as well. And you mentioned the number of assessments. I think there is no criteria related to the number of assessments, but the ratio between good and excellent and also filtered out assessments is going to be used in the future for a reputation system that is currently being built to provide a number for the reputation or somehow how good that PA is. And this is also going to influence the rewards and the weight of their assessments in the future, but it's currently under development. It's not in place yet.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
No.
Yeah. So I just want to ask regarding the rewards. Do we still go by the assumptions? Because last fund, we are assuming that at least a good assessment will be rewarded by like say $60, and then excellent will be 3 times that, which is about 180. But it turns out that when the rewards were released, actually some individuals who attended the workshop that I hosted, they did some good work. So what they were expecting, unfortunately, the values were very low comparing to that. So I wanted to know, is it now fixed or still we are still assuming we don't know exactly how what the figure looks like and what really sort of influences the rewards?
It's very difficult to predict the rewards that are going to be related to each assessment because it depends on a lot of different factors, but the estimate is currently the same, around $60. I think this is on the next slide. Yeah, so we're going to talk about this now. The current estimate is $60 per good assessment and $180 for each excellent assessment. But at the end, we cannot really be sure about these numbers, regarding these numbers, because if we have a lot of assessments for the same proposal. I think last time we had a proposal that had more than 100 assessments. So I think the rewards for that proposal was like $2 per assessment. I don't know. So we cannot know right now, just afterwards. These are just rough estimates.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Benjamin.
Sure, yeah, and I was just thinking on the other side of the question that Austin was asking. I see he stepped away, but I just thought I would mention this. I found success in any proposal assessment that I have written that was scored as excellent. The way that I handled in terms of my experience was that I would mention it in passing, say something. If it was like a special, you need to have some special experience to maybe have an opinion in that field, then I would mention the relevant experience as the beginning of the sentence, and then kind of comma, and then I would mention the comment or whatever, just so that the VPA would be able to quickly recognize, like, okay, yeah, this person has some legitimate experience, at least that's what they're stating here. And then of course the comment itself should be able to read like it has some knowledge, in it. So they'll be able to assess that as well. But I just thought I would mention that because it does mention that in the proposal assessor guide to mention your relevant experience in your assessments. And I find that that's I've read a lot of proposal assessments. In fact, that's one of the things I'm doing to write an article about being a proposal assessor, is read a lot of assessments that were filtered out and a lot of assessments that were given good and all the assessments were excellent. And one common thread I notice is that by and large, people don't mention their relevant experience in the ones that are thrown out. So, but again, is that causation, correlation? I don't know. I'm just letting you know that that's the majority. I'm seeing those things. So it's always good to mention your relevant experience if it's a specialized skill. If it's not, if it's general, very general, there's obviously no need. So
yeah. So there has been some confusion regarding this topic because this is one of the criteria that the VPAs use to review the assessments. So I think it's it's here in the next slide. Here, like the PA contemplation of their own ability to assess a proposal. This is related to what you've just mentioned. So there are a few things that I'd like to say about this. The first one is that you should not try to provide your whole curriculum there because this is not the goal. And also, again, APA could just be lying there, saying that they have been through some kind of course, they have this and that certification, and it's not necessarily true. And we cannot verify them because PAs are anonymous, right? So what VPAs should do is to try to identify based on the assessment itself, the things that the PA is doing, is saying, if they are bringing some good information to the table and correlating this to the proposal, and try to identify if they really have the background, they really have experience, but not just because they say they have. This is not the right way to review an assessment.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that I noticed that in the ones that were very successful, they at least mentioned it, so that I think it is only in the VPA's work a first indicator that that's there. I think you're right. We have to actually assess the whole proposal to see if that is true, in fact. So thank you for further clarifying that.
Yeah, thanks. So let's talk about the rewards now. Probably the most interesting part, right? So now in fund 9 we have the overall budget for this fund is $16 million. For fund 10 it's going to be 16 million ADA or dollars, whichever is the lowest value, has the lowest value in dollars. But now for fund 9 it's still based only in dollars. So the total budget is 16 million, and 80% of these funds, of this budget goes to proposals, and the other parts go to different to fund different parts of the system. And 4% of it goes to the proposal assessors, 1% goes to veteran proposal assessors, and the other 15% go to other different roles like referrers, for example. Not 15 to referrers, but this is divided among other parts of Catalyst. So currently now in Fund 9, 4% of the total budget is $640,000, which is going to be distributed among proposal assessors. And this is subdivided into two different budgets. The first one is like the standard budget for all proposals, and it's 80% of 640,000. And every proposal has the same budget for this standard budget. And there is a bonus budget, which is the remaining 20% of the overall proposal assessors budget, which is used to pay bonus rewards for proposal assessors who have assessed approved proposals, and not necessarily funded proposals, because funded means that they received funding, but approved proposals means that the community gave more upvotes. I mean, actually 15 more upvotes than downvotes to that proposal. So this is something that you should be looking for if you want to maximize your rewards. Try to assess proposals that are probably going to be funded, because they are going to have some bonus rewards attached to them. And this is also proportional to the budget of this proposal. So look for high budget proposals that are probably going to be funded. Yeah, Peter.
Do you know the rationale there? I would assume that you would want equal attention on sort of all proposals. Otherwise, I mean, it's a usual problem in these funds that, you know, we have 100 assessments for certain proposals and one for some. I mean, that's not good for anyone. So why do we have this incentive?
Yeah, this is a controversial topic, I would say, because this is being discussed for a few funds already. But let's say in this case we have a proposal with a high budget that's probably going to be funded. So all PAs go there and assess that proposal. We have more than 100 assessments. Okay, but at the end, these rewards are going to be divided by 100 people. So they are not going to be that high. So there is this balance as well. Personally, I don't agree. I don't think this is a good feature of the system, because this way the PAs tend to give higher scores for the proposals that they are assessing, because they want them to be at least approved, right?
Okay.
But it's something that's being discussed, and I believe it's probably going to change at least a bit in the future. I hope so.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, it's seen a lot of 5 stars for stuff that should really.
Yes. Yeah. So after these proposals are, during the QA stage, the veteran proposal assessors are going to classify these assessments as excellent, good, or filtered out. And this is going to be done, as I said, based on the alignment of these assessments to the official guideline. And the filtered out assessments are going to be completely removed from the process. They are not going to be used in the final calculation of each proposal's score. They are not going to, the PAs are not going to receive any rewards related to those assessments. But both the good and the excellent assessments are going to be included in the final score, currently with the same weight, but the rewards are different. The rewards for an excellent assessment are 3 times higher than just for a good one. And as Nana asked, these are the estimates for this fund. Each good assessment will receive $60, and each excellent assessment will receive $180. But it's very difficult to know these numbers, because they are going to depend on a lot of different factors: how many proposals were submitted in this fund, how many PAs assessed a specific proposal, was that proposal approved or not? Is there any remaining budget for other proposals? Because let's say just if in case we have, let's say, just 3 good assessments for a specific proposal, there is some remaining budget that goes to the overall and it's distributed to all the other proposals as well. So it's very, very difficult to calculate this number in advance. I would not to say impossible. Any questions regarding the rewards? Nope. So moving on. These 5 topics here are the items that the VPAs are going to use to assess how good the proposals, how good the assessments are during the quality assurance stage. I'm not going to go into much details about them. Everything is explained in the official guide, and it's quite extensive. That's the main reason I'm not going to explain it here, because there are definitions for what a good assessment is and what an excellent assessment is for each one of these 5 criteria. So I advise everyone to read the guide, but I'm going to talk just briefly about them. The first one is the positive feedback loop. So one of the responsibilities of the PAs is to provide feedback for the proposals. This is especially important for the proposals that you are giving a low score, because if you're giving a low score, it means that the proposal is not good. So how could this proposal be better in the future in case it doesn't get funded and they want to resubmit it in the future? How could they improve? What should be changed? What information is missing? What information is wrong, or it's not appropriate, or it's not realistic? And based on the way you do this, the VPAs are going to take it into consideration when reviewing your assessment. The second one is what we've discussed here, what Benjamin brought up regarding the contemplation of their own experience when assessing a proposal. So as I said, I think 10 slides back, the PAs can choose which proposals they are going to assess. So they don't have to assess a proposal that they don't understand anything, that's very technical, that are going to talk about things that they are not comfortable with. So ideally, they should skip these kind of proposals, or at least provide a very, this is not ideal, but they could provide a superficial assessment as well, just talking about the things that are very, very clear, very basic, and be reviewed as a good assessment. The next one is the PA scoring against challenge criteria. And this is related to how well the PA has compared the goals, the objectives, the KPIs of that proposal to what is described in the challenge brief. Is this proposal really helping to achieve the challenge goals or not? The next one is the PA opinion on the proposal overall. And this is more related to how well connected are the different parts of the assessment as a whole. Because there are some assessments that you can clearly see that the PA is just following a checklist, saying, okay, there is a roadmap, there's this, there's that, okay, the impact is this, is that. So it's not like really connecting their thoughts. You can see that's not a deep evaluation of the proposal. It's more superficial. And the last one is very straightforward, I would say, is related to the accountability of the community. It's basically how well the PA has assessed the accountability. So the metrics related to the progress of the proposal, the monthly reports that the proposers have to provide to both IOG and community, and also the KPIs and metrics related to the success of that proposal after it's delivered and it's on production. Any questions here? Nope. So moving on. All right, I think this is our final slide. We have some links here to different places in the ecosystem, the main Discord, Catalyst Discord server, the Project Catalyst Telegram group, the Proposal Assessor Telegram group, the Catalyst School Discord server. And there are also some links here in the next slide for some Catalyst School resources, our Discord, Telegram, email, website, and Linktree. And I'm going to show now the PA tool that was developed by AIM, which is a group that was also funded in Catalyst that intends to help the PAs during this assessment stage. But before we go there, yeah, Benjamin.
Thank you. First, I wanted to ask real quick. Did you already send a link for this slide here so we can click the links or whatever?
Yep, but I can send it. I can send it again.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then my last question was actually regarding something I was going to ask earlier, but then we kind of moved on and I didn't raise my hand in time. So I thought I'd wait till the end here. So I just wanted to ask, what if I'm opening up a proposal and I'm going to assess this, and all of a sudden I see their budget is added as a link, their KPIs are on some other link on a random Miro board, like every aspect of I think there's something in the guide about that, but I couldn't find it under any keywords like link or anything else. I was trying to answer my own question, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'm wondering, what would you do in that case if many major parts of the ask of the proposal are actually linked and you have to go several places? I mean, some people might just walk away from that, but I see that as maybe an inadequate proposal personally. What are your thoughts? Or I mean, maybe you have some definitive answers. I don't know. Thank you.
Not sure if I have definitive answers, but I have at least a strong opinion about it. I think this example that you just mentioned is not good at all, because after the proposal refinement stage, the proposal itself should be immutable. That should be the final information that the proposing team is providing to the community, because that is what's going to be used in the future. For example, to track the progress of the proposal, to track the success. So let's say there is a proposal that's asking for $100K, and they provide a roadmap with an external link, and after they get funded, they just change the roadmap completely into something very simple. So they're just getting the money and not providing any value to the community. So I'm not sure if this is included in the guidelines, but that's my opinion about the topic.
That's very logical. I appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, James.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the challenge settings, because it's slightly different, isn't it? With the challenge settings, and I don't know. Is it true that there's always a struggle to get enough people to assess the challenge settings?
Yes, good question. I'm glad that you brought this up, because the way that you assess a challenge setting is different from the way that you assess a standard proposal. So I think this was included. Let me just take a look here. This is not in these slides, but it's included in the town hall slides. The criteria is different when you are assessing a challenge setting proposal. So instead of assessing the impact, feasibility, and clarity or auditability, you are actually assessing the alignment of that challenge with Cardano's goals, Cardano's mission actually. So now for the challenges to be there in Fund 10, these are the topics that are critical to the development of Cardano that should be considered for the challenges submitted there. The feasibility, which is very related to the feasibility of regular challenges, but is how capable the community is to to address this challenge to propose solutions, proposals that are going to help this challenge to be successful, and the verifiability, which is basically the auditability of a challenge, because the challenge, it has KPIs itself, not just KPIs of the proposals, but for example, how many in the dApps and integrations challenge, let's say it might have the KPI of how many new dApps are developed based on with the funds provided by this challenge, something like this. And it should have a numeric goal as well. Let's say at least 10, something like that.
And within that challenge setting, of challenge settings, do you still is the bonus structure still the same, or is that not there because it's you know, it's a kind of different format and it kind of stands alone in a sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, as far as I know, it doesn't exist for this challenge, for challenge setting. But actually, this is a good question because I'm not 100% sure. But I think it doesn't apply here for this challenge.
Okay, cool.
Jeremy is saying here that bonus is still present and it's the largest bonuses available. All right, so that's new information for me as well. Thanks, Jeremy. We are we are always learning here.
And last thing on that, because there's just something I was sort of picking up on after the last fund. Is it? I believe more proposals get filtered out from the challenge settings than the other challenge categories. Is that because people are just not paying attention to these criteria, or is it more because their proposals are being challenged by the because obviously it's very active community members who are putting these challenges forward, so they're more likely to challenge a bad review or a review they don't think is correct?
I would say both things, and also maybe some proposers don't understand the challenge because it's a different challenge, completely different challenge from the other ones. It's like a meta challenge, right? So some PAs don't understand it quite well. Some proposers also don't understand it quite well, and also the community might be very strict related to the challenges that they want to see in the future. So I would say all factors combined. I don't know which proportion, but everything combined.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let me show you now the PA tool, still called CA tool. This is going to be updated very soon, and also the proposals here. So this tool was created back, I think, in Fund 4, and the goal was to help to distribute the workload between the NCAs, now PAs, because ideally we should have an equal number of assessments for every proposal. But if you just use IdeaScale, you are going to see a proposal and you're not going to know how many assessments were already provided to that proposal. So if you assess a proposal that already has, let's say, 100 assessments, that's not good, both for you and also for the community, because you could be assessing another proposal that doesn't have any assessment yet. So let's say I just click there to ask for a proposal. So the tool has just suggested me a random proposal for a random challenge. And I can just click here and go to check the full proposal on IdeaScale. And before I do that, I can just read the problem statement, the solution, and relevant experience, and see if I'm interested or not in assessing this specific proposal. And if so, I can go to proposal, check it on IdeaScale, read everything about it, And I can also see the number of assessments that were already given to this proposal. So this is the final number that we had for this proposal in Fund 8. But now for Fund 9, this is going to be updated on the fly. So this number is going to be 0 at first for all proposals, but anytime you join, you access this proposal, this tool, this number is going to be updated. I think it's updated every hour. And you see the last update was like 3 months ago during the assessment stage of the previous funding cycle. Okay, so if you decided to assess this proposal, you can click here, create assessment, and there is this pop-up, which is very important because you need to know that this is not like official tool of the Catalyst system. You're just using this to make your life easier, and you cannot submit your assessments using the tool. You just use the tool to navigate, to find different proposals, and you can write your assessments here. Impact, auditability, and after you've done this, you can also set the score that you want to give to each one of these criteria. After you've done this, you need to copy your assessment. You can just click here, and in IdeaScale, here at the bottom of each proposal, there is going to be a section where you can paste your assessment and also choose the rating that you're going to give for each one of the 3 criteria. And there is also this button here, guiding question, that has some guiding questions for you to keep in your mind when assessing the different criteria. So this was based on the assessment guide, and there are questions for impact, for feasibility, and also for auditability. And ideally, you should click here and confirm that you submitted assessment to IdeaScale, and you have copied all the content that was created here. And by doing this, you can use this tool to keep track of the assessments that you've done so far. For example, you click here in my assessment and see the proposals that you have assessed. This information is stored in your own browser. So if in case you delete, you're using a different browser or you delete the data there, you're going to lose all this information, but there's something that you can do is just to export these assessments to a local file. So this way you can be sure that you're not losing the data. I mean, unless you don't lose your hard disk as well. And you can then afterwards import to a different browser, to a different computer, and continue where you stopped. There are some examples here of excellent assessments that were rated by at least 80% of the veteran proposal assessors that participated in the review of that specific assessment. So you can also use these as examples of excellent assessments. And there are some links to different resources like Catalyst School workshops, this session that we are having here right now, the assessment guide, and the Telegram chat for proposal assessors. So the tool is currently not yet up to date, but it's going to be updated very soon. And I think that's it. Any questions here about the tool, about anything else that we discussed today? Yeah, Lucas.
Hey, just curious, this tool, when it's suggesting proposals to you, it's really going to work across all the challenges, or how is it?
Yeah, if you don't set anything, it's going to go through all the challenges, but you can select a specific challenge. Let's say cross-chain collaborations. Then it's just going to suggest proposals that are in that challenge. So if I click suggest another one, cross-chain, so everything here is cross-chain collaboration. And the first proposals that the tool is going to suggest are the least assessed proposals. So if you keep going, you're going to see that the other ones have a higher number of assessments.
So in terms of me focusing more on a specific challenge, I'm probably going to do that based on my skill sets and background to focus on. But is there any way that I can balance or see which challenges have more work to be done or not?
Yes, good question. During the assessment stage, using the data that is in the background of this tool, I create some charts and I share these charts in the Telegram group of PAs, just to show the difference of how many proposals still need to be assessed in the different challenges. And we at AIM, we are actually working to create a online dashboard for this. So there's going to be a website where you're going to have these charts updated in real time instead of me doing this once per day.
So during the coming weeks, you're probably going to be updating that on Telegram from time to time.
Yeah, starting on Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks
for all the clarifications as well. Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, Benjamin.
Yes, this tool was very useful for me. And I noticed that also at the bottom of the page that you're on right now, I think, or no, sorry, the bottom of that window that was at the top there, or never mind, you were just on it. It was on this, yes, right there, right where it says number of assessments. Underneath that, I think it starts to say like number of proposal assessments given, yeah, and yeah, oh, I guess that is it, yes. And then I guess during the end of the actual assessment period, that became more and more and more valuable because, of course, you know, hours before the end, I could just click on that and see which ones still had under 5. Of course, even if they have 5 or 10, I noticed on the data later, some that had 10 to 20 even, so many were filtered out that they were actually under 4 or 3 at the end. So don't always rely on that information. Just so you know, if you're under a certain amount, you know, if it's under 10, I would assume that, well, it's hard to say, you can't say. We don't know how many will be filtered out during the VPA, but just know in past that a lot of times if it has under 10, sometimes that means it's gonna have under 5. So your proposal assessment will count that. And I would always just say, looking at the data teaches you a lot to maybe form your own opinions, not maybe actual facts, but at least you'll have better ideas of what works best for you. Thank you so much for this tool, by the way. Such a great use. I've used it successfully.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for mentioning that. I think last fund, I don't recall the exact number, but I think something around 40% of all assessments were filtered out. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, Nana.
Yeah, thanks. Just to add to what the submission, I've forgotten the name, but the submission that was just given by one of our colleagues here. You know, this number or the figure over there, most of the times you want to think about it as not sort of the actual figure, because not everybody is using the VC, the tool. Basically, not everybody is using the tool. Some are working directly on IdeaScale, and then it doesn't reflect on the tool. So you just want to make sure that, okay, so fine. For instance, those who are using the tool is let's say 6 of them have accessed a particular proposal. I can also add mine. Okay, and then just as I said, some may be filtered out, some may be filtered out. So you just have to keep in mind, and then surely you'll be able to do something. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, actually, this is a valid point, but it is true for the VPA tool. The PA tool actually it gets all the data from IdeaScale, from the backend of IdeaScale. So the number that's here, even if someone submitted an assessment for this proposal and they are not using the tool, we are keeping track of these numbers because we are getting them from IdeaScale. But many people, they like work in Google Docs, they just write their assessments there, and only in the last day they submit their assessments in IdeaScale. And we can always see that when we keep track of the numbers during the assessment stage, we can always see that the number of assessments increases a lot during the last few days. And I believe that's one of the reasons behind it. Yeah, James.
Yeah, it's just a reminder for everyone. If you are working away from IdeaScale, I wouldn't leave it too late to submit all your proposals, because last fund IdeaScale went down sort of 20 minutes before the end, and I was still trying to get a few proposals in. And I know it was extended, but I didn't realize it had been extended. I thought I just missed out. So probably a good idea not to act like I did, and keep yourself up to date as you go along.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's important advice. Don't trust IdeaScale that much. Things may break.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone. Yeah, Javid.
When this will be updated to include the Fund 9 proposals tomorrow?
I believe the tool, yeah, I think the tool is going to be updated by tomorrow or Friday, the latest.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, Lucas.
Hi, so just a quick question. So is there like a channel on Discord or a voice room that we can sit in from time to time between PAs to chat about what we're working?
Yeah, there are a few places actually. There is this PA channel under the official Catalyst Discord server here. You can check it there. You can check even the school Discord server. There is a specific channel for PAs, and you can check this PA in VPA Hub, which is now, I think it's called Catalyst United, the name of the server. But there is also a space there for you to chat about the assessment stage with other PAs.
Okay, many thanks.
I'm going to share the link to the town hall slides again. Yeah. And well, I think that's it. And Alison, let's run the DID test for today.
Yes, thank you, Victor. It's very exciting. So for anyone who downloaded the ProofSpace app, or if you haven't downloaded it yet, you can do it now. And Victor's going to share a QR code. And then anyone with the app can scan that code and download their verifiable credential to their app. And while all of those mechanics are happening, I'm just gonna steal the floor here again for another minute to talk about what we're doing here. So what's the point behind this very small first baby step around integrating the concepts of decentralized identity into the PA workflow process? So first of all, this is a very small step. It's not going to feel very exciting or revolutionary, but it's the first step in a long journey. The big picture goal is, what's the point of introducing SSI into the PA process? So if you think about the model that we have, where to become a PA today, you have to create an account in IdeaScale. IdeaScale is a third-party platform. They control your account, and you have to register using your email and a password. And then data that we create is stored in IdeaScale, which is a third-party company, and they own all of that data. Now, I guess IOHK ultimately owns it because they're the customer, but it's all centralized. So what self-sovereign identity does is changes that dynamic. So when you create a decentralized identity on your ProofSpace app, nobody has that information besides you. That is your digital fingerprint. It's a bit analogous to your self-created blockchain wallet. Nobody's giving you that account. You're creating it yourself, and you own it and store it and keep it on your phone. And then you have a bilateral equal relationship when you connect with the Catalyst school, which you can do by scanning the QR code. You download app into your wallet, that credential that shows that you attended this course only lives in your wallet, and you choose when to share it and with whom, and you know how that happens because you're controlling it in your wallet. The benefits that come from all of that. So number one is improved privacy protection. So if anyone's been around for a couple of funds, in Fund 7, there was a leak or potential leak with IdeaScale data, and there was the possibility that PAs could lose these. So that's anonymity is much better when you're storing all of the data on your own phone. Central third party that can, and it gives us the platform for future improvements like proof of life, which this course is a form of proof of life. Everybody here is clearly alive and a human and not a bot. So if you needed this credential to write reviews, then there would be a built-in proof of life that was integrated into the process. There's a potential to measure the impact of that an onboarding course would have on the quality of reviews, which is something we might explore in a later pilot. And then Victor had alluded to a reputation system. So there's the possibility to build reputation into the process while preserving anonymity. Half of the process is getting PAs to download the credential. The other half of the process is then using that credential to sign into a platform like IdeaScale and start writing reviews. So that's not going to happen this fund. So as Victor had said early on, which is a really important point, this credential isn't going to be used for anything today. It's just a very first initial test of the ProofSpace tools. And another really important point that's critical to the whole self-sovereign identity industry, your personal data isn't stored on the blockchain. The only thing that's ever stored on the blockchain is a cryptographic proof that these credentials were issued. And that's what we use the Cardano blockchain for. Your data isn't stored on the blockchain. So that's all I'm going to say about this now. We'll keep having a lot of conversations about this. So if you're interested in the project and want to know more, there are a couple of places you can go. There's a Discord server. Actually, in the Catalyst United PA VPA hub that Victor mentioned, in that Discord server, there is a channel related just to this project. So feel free to join. There's not a lot of activity there, but I'll post updates and conversations as they happen. And you can also go to my website, which is cryptoalley.ch. And under resources, there's a video that gives the basics of SSI and then a little bit more details about what this project is doing. So with no further ado, Victor, do you want to show the QR code?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the explanation, Alison. So I'm going to share a QR code here. If you have already downloaded the app and accessed the Catalyst School service there, then you can claim your certification here. Let me share my screen. All right, so you can actually scan this QR code. It's only available for, I think, 1 or a couple minutes. So if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry, you're not going to get your credential, at least not today. You can join another session in the future. But everyone here in this workshop is going to get it. Yeah, I see some happy faces here, so yeah, I think it's working.
So it generated the date. That's it, right?
And then go to connect to services and find Catalyst School. Yeah,
Gotcha.
a couple people. Once you get to Catalyst School, then there's the option to proceed, and you should be able to get the camera to the scanning point. A couple of people have asked, what if you're watching on your phone? That's an excellent point that we've discovered in this session, somebody else had asked the same question earlier. I don't think there's a way to do it with the phone now. If you're using the same phone to attend the course, you can't also scan the credential. However, Proofspace, which is the technology company that's built this tool, is working on a fix for that. That for anybody who's watching it with their phone, there would be a button instead of the QR code, but that's coming in a later version. So duly noted. We will. That's the point of this early demo session. We'll take that under consideration for future iterations. And I wanted to say too, I had said there's no value to this credential. It's not going to be used to sign in and start writing reviews. However, this is a historic moment. This is the first time that self-sovereign IDs, decentralized identifiers, and verifiable credentials are being used in the Catalyst process. So you all are participating in making history. Somebody is saying they can't get the app, and Marcus, you look like you have a question. So regarding the app, there's not a lot I'm going to do from a tech support standpoint. Unfortunately, the Proofspace team have had just really unfortunate. One had an emergency, one had a baby born. So we lost the technical support from Proofspace. The app is available for iOS and Android. If you can't get the app, please send me an email at allison@cryptoalley.ch, and I will follow up with Proofspace if you would like. I mean, I don't want to force you to be our guinea pigs, but anyone who's having technical issues, we would love to know more about that so we can figure out what's going on. So feel free to send me a message. Marcus, what is your question?
So just to understand from the technology point, so we could add a code, create a multitude of IDs. So
yeah, yes. So I'm not sure what you mean about adding a QR code, but that's an excellent point about a multitude of IDs. So one of the things that's cool about self-sovereign identity is that in your wallet, so those of you who've downloaded the Proofspace app, you now have an identity wallet. Every time you connect with a different service in the Proofspace lingo, make a new connection, your wallet will create a new DID. Mm-hmm. So the DID that you use to connect to Catalyst School will be different than the DID that you use to connect to IOHK to log into IdeaScale, for example. So even if Catalyst wanted to ask you to provide your name and your email address for tracking and proof of life purposes, could then take the credential that you got from Catalyst School and provide it to IOHK. IOHK would have no way to associate the information that you provided to Catalyst School because it would be a completely separate DID. Okay. We have Victor here. Victor, I'm gonna jump to take your comments. Victor's the CTO of Proofspace, and Benjamin, we can come to your question.
Hey guys.
Hi, Victor.
So as you may see, the QR code is changing from time to time. It's because it's dynamic. You could set up it for the interaction on the dashboard. Means that you can't like save it and show to someone. Only those who are here may scan it. But maybe between the changes of the QR codes, you may expect some like fails, but then you may scan it again and successfully got your credential. If I saw that someone can't install the app, that means you can find it on the Play Store, on the market. If there is a need, please tell me. But yeah, they are publicly available and you may download and install.
Yeah, so anyone with an issue downloading the app, feel free to either message Victor directly in the chat. It's Victor RKO. Or you can send me an email to the email I gave up above. So Benjamin, what's your question?
So I've taken the screenshot and and it seems it was successful. It says upon successful completion of the PA qualifying course, the PA will receive a diploma credential, and it shows my last interaction with scanning this, and then it says you will receive, and then underneath it says PA qualifying course diploma. So it says will. So when is that like on chain, or when is that? Does that just happen when we're finished with this, or do you have to like on your end like verify that somebody was here or something? I don't know. When will it change to here's your diploma?
Yeah. So did you already hit scan underneath that and scan the credential?
I did, and then that's what's on the screen.
Okay, so it's giving you. I mean, that's because we're letting people have an unlimited number of credentials. If you go to My Identity at the bottom of the app,
yeah,
you should see the credential now stored in your app. It should have a diploma ID and the credential issue date, and that is your credential.
Okay.
And is it stored on chain somewhere? No, it's stored in your wallet. But
exactly. Okay.
If IOHK or IdeaScale needed to verify your credential when you presented it to them, a proof that credential was issued by Catalyst School is stored on chain. And actually, just to be clear, we're not even to the point of using the Atala Prism testnet, but that's in production and will be happening before the next demo that we do.
Thank you, Allison. I'm excited to be a part of this.
Thanks, me too. This is a historic moment in Catalyst history. Matthias.
Yeah, since you mentioned Atala Prism, to be honest, I fell kind of out of touch with the Prism team over the past several months due to the delays, focusing on shipping. But so the intention is still to move towards Prism, or?
Yes, not just the intention. I mean, that's the plan and what we've been funded to do with this proposal. And so for Fund 9, we're not going to be able to do anything bigger than this demo, which is already, as I said, a historic moment for Catalyst. But for Fund 10, the goal would be to run this whole process. So a PA would take the course, receive the credential, and then use the credential to sign into IdeaScale or validate themselves with IOHK. And for Fund 10, we would store the proof that those credentials had been issued on the Cardano testnet. I don't think that Prism will be live on the mainnet for Fund 10, but that's okay, because as we're still testing the concept out and running a pilot, it's probably better not to have the data, even though it's only the proof that a batch of credentials was issued. It's probably better not to have it on the Cardano mainnet anyway. So for Fund 10, we'll use the Atala Prism testnet. Nin.
Prism will be, let me check Tony's message. Pre-production will be available in a couple of days.
Yeah, pre-production. Yes, exactly. But I don't think anyone's talking about mainnet before 2023.
Mainnet will actually be ready in maybe a month or two. We are helping Prism team push to prod in mainnet, and our release is in July. So hopefully we're releasing on Aries on prod. So hopefully by August we can migrate everything to Prism, and then it will be unlocked for the rest of the community. Hopefully.
If that's a real timeline, that is really exciting. But I will say, having watched IOHK time number of years, I'm taking a cautiously optimistic view of when releases will occur. And we have a full plan in place where if it doesn't go onto mainnet in August, that's fine. And like I said, there's some benefits to running it on testnet anyway.
I understand.
Any other questions? I have to say, yeah. Any other questions? Thank you all for your willingness to try this out and be part of this moment. All right, yeah, excellent. So I'll just say again, if you're interested in learning more about the project, go to cryptoalley.ch. There's a video about SSI generally and this project. You can email me at allison@cryptoalley.ch or join the Discord channel to stay tuned for more updates about what we're going to do. And Victor, huge thanks to you and Catalyst School for partnering with us to demo this technology and letting us take some time from your course. And to the other Victor from ProofSpace, thank you as well, and stepping away from everything you've got going on to provide technical support.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks, Alison. It is a pleasure to be part of this important step in Catalyst, and I hope we are able to incorporate this into the standard process in the future. And also, thanks everyone. Thanks, Victor, for being here as well, and thanks everyone for taking part in this workshop. And please connect with us in Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, and whatever you want to, email, website. And we also have some links here in our link tree. I'm going to share the link in case you want to request one-on-one support sessions for being a PA or a VPA in the future, or basically anything else. For the next fund, we are probably going to have different topics related, for example, for DREPs, Catalyst natives, Catalyst Circle. So there are some nice things coming up in the near future. And that's it. Thank you, and see you around.
Yeah, great stuff. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good luck in the
You know
PA
when
work.
this